Is China still investable? Now in this video, I want to share with you on my opinion with regards to whether or not China is still investable by looking at different investment duration and horizon that you may have. Without further ado, let's get started. Why is China not investable in the short run? Now if you're thinking of investing for only a few months or up to a few years, I don't think you should consider investing in China, as the market itself is number one, highly volatile and unpredictable, as you've seen from the slew of regulatory crackdowns and COVID lockdowns. Number two, it is not perceived favorably in the global investing community, which causes the market to often overreact to negative news while being non-responsive to positive news. And number three, China is currently undergoing a series of changes as the government resets their priorities on social equality, which is beneficial in the long run but painful to businesses in the short run. Now as a result, the Chinese market is the worst nightmare for any short-term investors, as they are subjected to higher investment risk while not being rewarded for any positive short-term developments. To make matters worse, given that China is currently undergoing a series of changes and the government's track record of often being too extreme with their implementation, the level of uncertainties that short-term investors have to deal with is simply not worth it, as there are better investment options available in the market. Why China may be investable in the mid-run? Now China may become investable in the mid-run as having a 5 to 10 years runway will probably be sufficient to at least iron out the short-term volatility and reduce the downside risk. That said, while the downside risk can be mitigated, the certainty of returns may or may not materialize, as it largely depends on, number one, where the market is fundamentally after the COVID lockdowns, supply chain disruptions, and global political tensions have recovered and normalized. And number two, how do the global investors perceive China investments to be, given where they are at that point in time, right? Here's the thing, for investors to be rewarded for the risk that he or she assumes when investing in China, two conditions must be met. Either the investor's perception of China's investments or the fundamentals and future growth trajectory must be neutral or positive, right? Should either one of these conditions be negative or deteriorating, the potential upside returns will be severely jeopardized, even though the downside risk could be mitigated with a longer investment duration. Why is China investable in the long run? Regardless of what happens in the short run, in the long run, it is inevitable that China's economy will continue to grow, albeit slower than in the previous 10 to 20 years. Healthy returns can still be achieved so long as investors, number one, do not overpay for his or her investments, number two, achieve proper diversification instead of focusing on specific sectors, and number three, invest for the long term. As I've mentioned earlier, the changes that the Chinese government is proposing and implementing is one that is beneficial systematically and socially in the long run, but it is painful to businesses in the short run. If indeed the Chinese government managed to achieve what they have set out to achieve, the rewards can and will only be able to be reaped in the long term, which is why I think if you're a long-term investor, China is still investable. Now personally, I do not have any direct investment position in China, as my investment thesis and hypothesis revolves around Asia's regional growth, which is one that is broadly diversified and have a higher probability of materializing as compared to individual country or sectorial bets. Now if you do not know how to get started with your investments, or if you do not have the time to manage your investments, you can check out what I do on my website to see how you can benefit from my investment planning services and reach out to me directly. Do subscribe to this channel or follow me on Instagram to receive a 1-minute daily market updates and be updated with the weekly upload. Stay safe and I hope to hear from you soon.